Auggie Me, the Pluto chapter, 10:59 p.m. After Dad had gotten me to calm down a bit, he called Isabel back to let her know that everything was fine. They chatted, and then Dad handed the phone to me. It was Auggie on the line. "Hey, your dad told my mom you needed some help with math," he said. "Oh, yeah," I answered shyly, blowing my nose. "But it's so late. Don't you need to go to bed?" "Mom's totally fine with my helping you. Let's face chat." 2 seconds later, he was on screen. "So, I'm having trouble with word problems," I said, opening my textbook. I'm not getting how you know what operation to use. When do you multiply? When do you divide? It's so confusing." "Oh, that," he nodded. "Yeah, I definitely had trouble with that too. Have you memorized the clue words though? That helped me a lot." I have no idea what he was talking about. "Let me send you a PDF, he said. 2 seconds later, I printed out the PDF that he sent me, which listed a whole bunch of different words. "If you know what clue words to look for in the word problem," Auggie explained, "you know what operation to use. Like per or each or equally means you have to divide. And at this rate or doubled means multiplication. See?" He went over the whole list of words with me, one by one, until it finally began to make some sense. Then we went over all the math problems in the textbook. We started with the sample problems first, and it turned out he was right. Once I found the clue word in each problem, I knew what to do. I was able to do most of the worksheet problems on my own, though we went over each and every one of them after I was done, just to be sure I'd really gotten it. 11:46 p.m. My favorite types of books have always been mysteries. Like you don't know something at the beginning of the book, and then at the end of the book, you know it. And the clues were all there all along. You just didn't know how to read them. That's what I felt like after talking to Auggie. Like this colossal mystery I couldn't understand before was now completely, suddenly solved. "I can't believe it. I'm finally getting this now," I said to him after we'd gone over the last problem. "Thank you so much, Aug." "Seriously, thank you." He smiled and got in close to the screen. "It's cool beans," he said. "I totally owe you." Auggie shrugged. "No problem. That's what friends are for, right?" I nodded. "Right. Good night, Chris. Talk soon?" "Night, Aug. Thanks again. Bye." He hung up. I closed my textbook. I went to the guest room to tell Dad that Auggie had helped me figure out all the math stuff, but he wasn't in the room. I knocked on the bathroom door, but he wasn't in there either. Then I noticed Mom's bedroom door was open. I could see Dad's legs stretched out on a chair next to the dresser. I couldn't see his face from the hallway, so I walked in quietly to let him know that I was finished talking with Auggie. That's when I saw he'd fallen asleep in the chair. His head was drooping to one side. His glasses were on the edge of his nose, and his computer was on his lap. I tiptoed to the closet, got a blanket, and placed it over his legs. I did it really softly so he wouldn't wake up. I took the computer from his lap and put it on the dresser. Then I walked over to the side of the bed where Mom was sleeping. When I was little, Mom used to fall asleep reading to me at bedtime. I would nudge her awake if she fell asleep before finishing the book, but sometimes she just couldn't help it. She'd fall asleep next to me, and I would listen to her soft breathing until I fell asleep too. It had been a long time since I'd seen her sleeping, though. As I looked at her now, she seemed kind of little to me. I didn't remember the freckle on her cheek. I'd never noticed the tiny lines on her forehead. I'd watched her breathing for a few seconds. "I love you, Mommy." I didn't say this out loud, though, because I didn't want to wake her up. 11:59 p.m. It was almost midnight by the time I went back to my room. Everything was exactly the way I'd left it this morning. My bed was still unmade. My pajamas were jumbled up on the floor. My closet door was wide open. Usually, Mom would make my room look nice after she dropped me off at school in the morning. But today, of course, she never got the chance to do that. It felt like days had passed since Mom woke me up this morning. I closed the closet door, and that's when I noticed the trombone resting against the wall. So the accident didn't happen as she was bringing me my stuff this morning. I don't know why exactly, but this made me feel so much better. I put the trombone right next to the bedroom door so I wouldn't forget it again on my way to school tomorrow. And I packed my science paper and gym shorts inside my backpack. Then I sat down at my desk. Without thinking any more about it, I replied to Elijah's text. Hey, Elijah. Thanks for the offer to join your band, but I'm going to stick with John at the spring concert. Good luck with Seven Nation Army. Even if I look like a total dweeb at the spring concert, I couldn't let John down like that. That's what friends are for, right? It's the final countdown. Sometimes friendships are hard. I put on my pajamas on, brushed my teeth, and got into bed. Then I turned off the lamp on my nightstand. The stars on my ceiling were glowing bright neon green now, as they always did right after I turned the lights off. I turned over on my side, and my eyes fell on a small star-shaped green light on my floor. It was the star Mom had placed on my forehead this morning, which I had flicked across the room. I got out of bed, picked it up, and stuck it on my forehead. Then I got back in my bed and closed my eyes. We're leaving together, but it's still farewell. And maybe we'll come back to Earth, who can tell? I guess there's no one to blame. We're leaving ground. Will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown. The end.